Hi everyone. So today is February 2nd, 2025, 4:47 p.m. I thought let's make it a day. Also it's Basant Panchami. So I thought let's make it the day where I will be uploading my first YouTube video almost a year after creating the channel. There was no need or there is no agenda in uploading the video, to be very honest, to give a disclaimer. And that is because I'm just doing it purely from the perspective of sharing my understanding and my knowledge, whatever I've gathered again through human life, and in order to create something, you know, because at the end, no matter how robotically you live, how much your prefrontal cortex works, but we are all creators, and there is no denial in that. So the key which remains is to be in balance always. So with that perspective, let's just sharing something which I thought, why not do it, and that is, what is an identity, the question which came forth and came about. So whenever we say anything, whether we are talking about I like burger, I like pizza, or I like to eat, or I like to sleep, or I like to study. These are identities we are giving to ourselves in small, small manner. But at the end of the day, what is I? And from the non dual perspective, if you know, like, as it's there, like, a bit of focus is of making the videos towards that only. It is that I does not exist in the manner which we think I is. Are you getting me? In the sense, if I say that I am a student, that I doesn't exist. But yet I exist in the form that I am. Just I am. The identity of student is not there. Well, of course, if I'm studying, if I'm preparing for an examination, or if I'm enrolled in a course, or if I'm striving for a career, that is one aspect of identity I would give. But that is not the ultimate. One is there beyond I am dash, which we can say it just stops at I am. So if we go into the writings of Nisarg Datta Maharaj, and who's a very famous non-dual writer, and he has this book I am that, or I am. I'll have to cross verify. I've read just a bit of it, not getting time to read the entire thing because I'm involved somewhere else. And when you realize that the reality is I am, just it's there, that is when you become the creator of bigger and more important things. You know, detaching yourself from the identities which you have been living up till now. You can be 10 years listening to this video, you can be 50, one can be 70, one can be whatever, 100, 30, 35. So when you realize that it's just I am which exists, nothing beyond that, then is the time to redefine your identity. You know, it's not easy to let go of the older identities until something happens which shakes you out of it. And when I say that, always having the flexibility of I am, that's when everything starts to flow smoothly in your life. You know, just to, you might be wondering why am I looking the other side. It's just a small diary where I've written a few points to share my understanding with you. So, then when you realize that I doesn't exist, like I said, then the world of possibilities open for you. Then, in order to enter a world of duality, if I may put it, of course, all the terms I'm using you may not be understanding. I can get it, but of course, as and how the videos keep coming up in future, I will keep explaining the concepts as and how it goes. So, when you realize that I doesn't exist, but you cannot exist in so called, we say, shunyata or zero or without an identity, because if you're in this human body, if you're speaking, if you've taken birth, you cannot exist without an identity. You cannot. You know, if one has to exist without an identity, or let me say an ego, then one would not be born, because the zeroness or the nothingness is there. That's when you create a very conscious identity circle or a prism for yourself as to how you would like to be identified while being in this body, and from a bit higher level of consciousness than the people around you. I'm not saying we can be gods if we follow non duality, or so called if we have an experience of the futility of this world. No. But you do realize that you are a part of that ultimate reality, and at the same time, it exists within you. But in order to completely assimilate with the so called God or the universal energy, that's a lifelong endeavor. Each day you will get detached and come back. Again, you will be so much involved in the egoic sense of matrix around you, and then suddenly you'll get a realization and you'll go back again. So, yeah, I was that you create a prism for yourself. And when you create that prism, that okay, I would like to be identified in this manner, and you know, let's say giving myself an identity of being a daughter, which I don't want to detach myself from, or giving myself an identity of being a friend, but in what aspect, redefining it. Or in psychology terms, we call it from having a no sense of self to coming to a very stable sense of self. So, and that's when it becomes very seamless for you to exist and have the clarity as how you would like your life to go about. But the catch happens when you are giving yourself those identities. Do not be so attached to them that the forces of the universe tomorrow shake you in order to wake you up again. What I mean by that, for example, of course, from living from a detached space is what matters. Well, let's say my identity is having a good body. I want to have a good body. Just an example. And if tomorrow something happens by being too attached to it, also, or let's say I bruise my hand, or by god forbid I meet with an accident and something happens on my face or something happens on my neck, or one part of my body is not there, maybe a hand or a leg or a foot or whatever, then that's when you will be forced to be in a way where you are not able to accept what has happened to you, obviously. And it's very natural. I'm not even saying that you know one should be in a space ki okay, it doesn't happen, I'm gonna chill. No, but always being aware that there is something beyond this, always reminding yourself at that very moment, like even if I'm making a YouTube video right now, but also I'm being very aware that this is not it. It is an identity I've given to myself by knowing that it's a prism which I have entered, but the reality is that that identity does not exist in the truer form, in a more refined, I would not say truer is a right word, you know. So that's it for today. That I feel, the true meaning of identity you will be only able to realize when you know that you are identityless. And knowing also your identity less is also giving yourself an identity. So it's nowhere, it's like a spiral, box in a box in a box in a box, and in reality there's no box. But when there is no box, then you wouldn't be in this body. So that's just something I like to say. I don't know if you got it or how many people will understand. I'm still working on refining the language through which I can put my understanding across, and for people to also wishing at the same time for people to maybe see it twice, thrice to understand what I'm speaking, and for me also to be able to have those skills to explain it in a more lucid and simplified manner. But I just wanted to have a start with this. Thank you so much, and let's see where this journey goes. Bye.